Here's another important news item on China that flew under the radar. The Financial Times recently published this article presenting a case study on how China has weaponized critical minerals for geopolitical gain and left the US and the rest of the world with a huge strategic vulnerability. In response to the US-led semiconductor restrictions, last year on July 2023, Beijing throttled the exports of gallium and germanium to, quote, safeguard national security and interests. Since then, their prices have almost doubled. As of 2022, China produced a staggering 98% of the entire world supply of gallium. The U.S. Geological Survey estimated that China produces about 60% of the world's germanium. This chart shows the result of the restricted supply. And this one shows the cost of gallium inside China versus in Europe. This one shows the price of germanium skyrocketing. So what do these metals do, and how did China come to dominate them? Both gallium and germanium are used in a range of semiconductor applications as well as military and communication components. In addition to advanced microprocessors and smartphones, we're talking about things like fiber optic products, night vision goggles, and precision optics, and much more. About a month ago in early August, the Center for Strategic and International Studies, CSIS, also published an article on this topic entitled De-risking Gallium Supply Chains, the National Security Case for Eroding China's Critical Mineral Dominance. The CIS said that gallium, quote, plays a critical and unique role in modern electronic supply chains, especially within the defense industry. Its unique properties allow for the production of specialized semiconductors that are vital to advanced capabilities like next-generation missile defense and radar systems, as well as electronic warfare and communications equipment. In other words, gallium has, quote, revolutionary properties. A more advanced compound derived from gallium called gallium nitride, GaN, is, quote, revolutionizing modern radar, allowing new radar modules to track smaller, faster, and more numerous threats from nearly double the distance. China's next-generation radar systems leverage GaN, which Beijing claims can easily detect stealth aircraft and cruise missiles as far away as Guam and Australia. The U.S. military is also increasingly relying on GaN for its most important new radars, from Raytheon's next-generation radars that are being integrated into Patriot missile defense systems, to Northrop Grumman's advanced radars on the F-35 Lightning II, to U.S. Navy radars on aircraft carriers and destroyers. Quote, these upgrades are poised to bring about a sea change in the ability of U.S. and allied forces to defend against emerging threats like hypersonic missiles, next-generation stealth aircraft, and unmanned systems, unquote. So in other words, no big deal. Here's a chart showing how critical gallium is. The U.S. Geological Survey ranked it number 1 out of 50 in terms of supply risks. So how did China gain a virtual monopoly on such a critical resource? It did it indirectly. Unlike minerals like cobalt, nickel, and lithium, which are recovered directly from the earth, gallium is a byproduct of aluminum, which China dominates by producing about 60% of the world's supply. In a familiar story, China's aluminum industry was boosted by huge government subsidies and tax incentives, which enabled the country to increase production by tenfold from 2000 to 2022. Beijing also implemented strategic policies requiring producers to extract gallium, and from 2005 to 2015, China went from producing 22 metric tons of gallium to a whopping 444. And surprise, surprise, that oversupply caused other gallium producers around the world to shut down due to unprofitability. In 2020, one of the last remaining gallium refineries in the US shut down and everything was offshore to China. It gets worse. China has grand plans to leverage its gallium dominance to develop next-generation gallium-based technologies. It's now in the pole position to be the dominant leader in GaN-based semiconductors, which many experts see displacing today's silicon-based chips. Quote, Chinese experts specializing in third-generation semiconductors have signaled that Beijing's efforts to develop gallium-based chips are aimed at technologically leapfrogging the United States, Europe, and Japan. According to one state-backed industry group, China should use GAN to seize the historic opportunity to overtake the car by changing lanes. If China can make breakthroughs in the initial phases of GAN semiconductor development, it can potentially lock in early mover advantages in ways similar to its success at capturing the lead in producing advanced batteries for electric vehicles. When China was unable to develop its own gallium-based semiconductors, it shifted to a, quote, systematic campaign of corporate espionage and strategic acquisitions to target GAAS and GAN technologies from companies in the United States and other advanced economies. Here's a brief timeline outlining Beijing's strategic success in dominating gallium. According to the CSIS, quote, these efforts have paid dividends for China's military modernization and exemplify Beijing's military-civil fusion strategy, a sweeping push to fuse together the country's security and development goals. The CSIS concludes, quote, gallium represents a clear-cut area in which Washington and its allies can take concrete steps to protect their supply chains by reducing their reliance on China. No country can be fully self-reliant in natural resources, and China will remain a key player in critical minerals markets. Yet by making targeted investments at home and working strategically with allies, the United States can reduce its reliance on China and de-risk critical supply chains from disruptions. Here are the CIS's recommendations to the US. Invest in gallium extraction and refinement capabilities in the United States. Collaborate with allies and partners to scale up overseas gallium extraction and refinement capacity. Promote gallium recycling. Maintain a minimum 1-year stockpile of gallium for the defense industry. Enhance data collection and transparency in U.S. gallium production and consumption. The CIS concluded the obvious, quote, failing to address glaring vulnerabilities in the gallium supply chain could pose serious national security and economic challenges for the United States and its allies. For more information on a related topic, see my video about China's secret stockpilings of commodities.